everyone, I'm back again today with a Snoopy Christmas card. I'm super excited about this one and I think it's the best card I have probably ever made. I am using a Stampabilities Snoopy stamp. I found it on eBay. It's a woodblock one. There is one online on eBay right now. I think it's like $38, but there's usually other people post them. So if you're interested, just keep an eye out on eBay. And the second stamp that I'm using is a Charlie Brown with the Christmas tree walking, and this is by Stampede. Again, I found this one also on eBay. I did look, there is one of these on eBay, which I would say this one's pretty rare. So if you're interested, I'd probably get the one that's on eBay. But it's bidding, and it's like with a group of stamps or something. And then I am using Christmas Pines again by Stampin' Up! Just for that snow. Like, that's like one of my favorite snow stamps. You probably noticed I've been using it a lot. And then I'm using Stylized Christmas Trees by Hero Arts, and I'm using the May Your Days Be Merry and Bright. And I guess I'm reaching for something. And so the cardstock is Nina Solar White 110 pound cardstock, and I've cut it to 4 by 5 1/4, and I am using a Stamp-A-Mud-Jig by Stampin' Up! To stamp the woodblock stamps. That way I can line it up where I want it. Several companies sell those types of stamp positioners, so you can get whatever brand you want, but I would recommend one for wood stamping because it makes life so easy. So to use it, you just line the corners up and then stamp your block there, and then you can line up where you want it through the clear plastic, if this makes any sense at all, and stamp it again. There's probably tutorials out there because I am butchering this explanation. So then I do the Charlie Brown one. And I did mask off because I wanted his feet to be covered by snow hills. That way it looks like he's walking through the snow to Snoopy's house. So I did mask off an area, that way his feet will be not stamped. So as you can see there, it is now not stamped. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, and I have a Copic marker or pen just to add some hills, because when I color it with Copics, it will not smear. If you use a different type of pen, like a regular pen or a gel pen or anything like that, the Copic markers will smear the ink all over your project. So here I'm just taking the pen and I'm making snow. I'm just, I did look at online at like Charlie Brown, like Snoopy cartoon, like scenes, still scenes or whatever, just to try and get an idea of their like what they did, kind of. And I will say that in the actual cartoon there is no shading, but I did shade a little bit in this card because I'm me and that's what I do. So I'm using my regular markers, R30 or R35, R37, and R39. Those are my favorite favorite red combination markers. And here I zoom in finally. So this video is kind of all over the place at the end. I had a headache when I was filming this, so my brain was not working correctly. And there is a blooper with Wink of Stella, but I fix it and it's okay. And the world didn't end or anything. So I'm just laying down my base color of the R35, which I do when I'm coloring anything. I always lay down the base first and then go to darkest to lightest. So that is what I am doing here. And it is kind of finicky with this stamp just because there's so many light bulbs and you have to try to color around them because you obviously don't want all the lights to be red. And I actually did make a point to not make any of the light bulbs red on the front of the house because it would just blend in. So I'm just doing some shading under where Snoopy lays, and then I shade under the cords for the strand of lights. Like I said, this is probably, I'm a huge Snoopy fan, Peanuts fan and all that, and so this is by far the best card I've ever made in my entire life. And I don't think I'll make one better. Well, I don't know, I have more Snoopy stamps. So if you do like cards like this, where it's technically not really like a stamp company that's easy to go out and buy, let me know, because I do have stamps and stuff that I enjoy doing. It's just, it might not be accessible, but maybe somebody already has the stamps I'm showing, or eBay will have them, or maybe you just like watching me color, I don't know. And so probably the coloring of the house is probably the hardest part in this entire video. Unless you're like me and you have a week of Stella mishap and have to fix that. But yeah, last night I went back on eBay and started looking at more Snoopy stamps. Because after I did this one, because I've had these stamps for probably 4 years and never used them because they were woodblock and I didn't have the stamp positioner yet. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to like stamp it right and everything. Especially because the Charlie Brown stamp, when I stamped it the first time, it didn't stamp all the way. And without the stamp positioner, I would have had to start all over. So yeah, that's probably why I never pulled them out. And so now that I have made a card with them, I am already itching to make more Snoopy cards. So you, if you're like me and you don't care about brands or whatever, just go on eBay and look at them. I'm trying to go to eBay to see which ones I just bought. I know I bought two Woodstock ones, another like Christmas Snoopy scene, like with like the whole gang and everything, and then I plan to purchase more. I have some more on my watch list. The thing is, they're pretty expensive because they're like coming at like collector's items, but I don't care. And here I am. These are the colors that I'm using to do the light bulbs. I just chose bright colors in my Copic stash, which you can do the same. You don't have to have the same exact colors as I do. I just know that some people like to know what colors you're using. So, like I said, I tried to make sure that none of the red bulbs were on top of the house because I didn't want it to blend in. And then here are the colors that I'm using to color Charlie Brown. I do show you the colors that I use to color his skin and everything after I'm done with this one. I didn't know what color to color that hat. I looked online because I've never seen him wear that. I always saw him wear like the ball cap type hat, the brown one. And so I couldn't find anything on that one, so I just colored it red to match his shirt. And then I was taking the colorless blender and just fixing some boo-boos. It doesn't erase ink, it just pushes the ink back in the lines. It just kind of like pushes it where you want it to go. And I just keep fussing with it like I normally do. I'll keep going over colors until I figure that it looks good. And of course, I couldn't leave well enough alone. I love the colorless blender. It's definitely a lifesaver if you're like me, because I drink a lot of coffee before I craft, and so my hands are always shaky from the caffeine. And so when I'm coloring, my hand's just shaking all over the place, as well as the marker, and I'm going way out of the lines, and I'm like, oh well, we have colorless blender to fix that. Like during this video, my hands were so shaky from caffeine, but I can't live without it. And then I do color like the little branches on his tree with G46 and G43, I believe. Yeah, I think those are the colors I use. And then for his shoes, I think I was using E57 and E59. And the same thing with the tree, like the trunk and his, whatever that is called, I guess the base. I'm sure there's a more technical term for it, but we're going to go with base. And then I'm using E51, E53, and E50 for his skin. So the next card that I plan to do is Sunny Studios, I believe, and it's with like the coffee stamp set, I think. One looks like a Starbucks coffee thing. So yeah, I already have that made up, and so that'll be next. And here I'm just taking my embossing tool to prevent static cling and rubbing that all over. And then there was one area on a bulb that I wanted to color in with that black pen. And so here's where I'm taking that Stampin' Up! Snow scene thing, and I'm just stamping it all over the card with Versamark ink. That way I can emboss. I don't know why I said emboss like that. Emboss. Anyways. So I stamp it everywhere. I stamp it on the images because, you know, when snow is falling, it's not going to just like go behind the images. So I stamped it everywhere. And then I'm taking Simon Says Stamp Shimmer White embossing powder, which is like a white and silver glitter embossing powder. I meant to freeze frame that, but I forgot. But I mean, it's shimmer white embossing powder I stamp it up. So there you go. And so I did notice that there was like a lot of embossing powder, like stamps on Snoopy and Charlie Brown. So I did actually end up taking a what is it called? Paintbrush, and getting that off before I embossed because I didn't want it to cover up him. And I didn't show the embossing because my embossing gun is across the room. So yeah. And then I am sticking the masks on. I use two types of mask. I use this type, which is like a sticker kind of cling mask thing, and you can use it multiple times until it either gets dog hair on it like mine or just stops being sticky. So I use that on Charlie Brown and Snoopy's House and Snoopy. And then I use, I feel like I've said a million times, but I use, I think it's like Pebeo, there we go again. What is it called? Masking fluid, there we go. I need more coffee. My cup ran out. And so here I'm just kind of finicking with it. I must not have fast forwarded this part. Normally I fast forward everything. And then you want to make sure you shake this. And yeah, so it's Drawing Gum by Pebeo. Oh, now we're back into some fast forwarding. And so when you're using this, make sure you're using a paintbrush that you don't give two craps about, because it ruins your brush. So don't go and use your really expensive artist quality painting brushes for this, because you're going to be mad. So there's your warning. I just use one that comes free, and like when you're buying something that comes with a paintbrush, I just use one of those. Gets the job done, and I don't care if it ruins it. Here's what I'm talking about, the dog hair. I don't let the dog in my crafting room, but it's on my shirt, and I guess mingles with my masking tape. So I put it on all the light bulbs. If you are going to do this card, I would recommend the drawing gum, because those light bulbs would be a pain to cut out if you had to cut it like a regular mask. Same with this hill thing that I've created. I would have to cut a mask that was like perfectly shaped with that hill, or I could just use this liquid mask and make it how I want it. And you get to see a little bit of my hair. Now, if you are going to use this, you are going to need it's like a different type of eraser. I don't know, you'll see it when I go to take it off. It's some type of eraser. I think it's like masking eraser. I don't know. I think it's a glue eraser. That might be what it is, a glue eraser. I think that's what it is. And so I'm taking Distressed Ink Tumbled Glass color, and I'm using one of my Picket Fence life-changing blender brushes and just sponging that on to create the sky, because if you've ever watched any Snoopy films, then you know that the sky is usually like that kind of blue color. At least the Christmas ones. I usually watch the Christmas ones. So just keep blending it until you like it. And here I've already taken off the regular mask. And here's that eraser I was talking about to remove the drawing gum. There we go. And I think I edited some of it out because you didn't need to see me like finagle with the whole thing, but I just wanted you to see how I got it off. And I think some people actually just use their finger to roll it up, so you can just do whatever works for you. And I go back over the tree again. I say about 100 times in this video. I apologize. But I'm just using the green marker and going over the branches again, because when you put the drawing gum on, my thoughts, that's why. It can sometimes leave like a white mark around if you went too far out, so I just fill that in with the green and it looks fine. And so I placed it on my A2 sized card, and this is Whisper White cardstock by Simon Says Stamp. Not Simon Says Stamp, whew, Stampin' Up! And I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink for my sentiment, and this paper is, I think, 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches. But of course, if you don't have that sentiment, just make a strip of paper or whatever works for your sentiment. And I'm using 3M dimensional tape to adhere it onto my card. And I like finagled with that so much, so I cut most of that out. I spent like a good 5 minutes making sure that was straight. It just didn't look right to me. And I'm using some random gems I have, and then some Stampin' Up! Gems, clear rhinestones, for the sentiment. I put, I think, 5, because I love glitter and anything shiny and sparkly, and I like to go all out. You do not have to add any, or as much as I did for that matter, but I thought I would add a bunch to satisfy me. And my blooper, I think I just did it at double speed instead of triple speed, because I feel like I was like, oh my gosh, you should have heard the audio for it. I was quite shocked at my little mishap. Alright, here we go. Here we go. And there we go, everywhere, like Estella. And I was like quickly trying to dabble it around just to get it out of that area. I ended up taking my chamois and just rubbing until some of it came off. My paper did get a little bit warped. Well, not warped, but peely. But it's not too bad. Like, you won't notice it, or I don't notice it. And there's where I was getting some of the peelies off the paper, but it still came out fine. Where there's a will, there's a way, because I was not about to throw this card away because of Wink of Stella. I was about to just have like a really shimmery area. But I did learn from my mistake, and I got a clear block and then squirted some on the clear block. That way I can just take it as I need it, and I don't have to worry about an explosion. And then this is like where I say everything just went like wonky, like things are just not in order. I do take and do some more coloring, so if you think this is the end of the video, I have news for you, because I take the colorless blender in B01 and I add Snoopy color to the snow. I guess Snoopy color. I take a blue color and add it to the snow. I did look online, and I think I saw that on the snow there was blue lines or something. I don't know, but I did it and it looks fine. But obviously I didn't want like that dark blue all over the card. Well, it's not dark blue, but I didn't want that deep of a blue on my card, so I took the colorless blender to blend it out and add like some shading almost with it. I think it looks fine. I don't know. Like I said in my previous videos, I'm just a girl with Copics trying to make things look good. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never taken a Copic class. I've just watched YouTube videos and played around with my markers. So in my mind, this looks good. And of course, my Copic markers did get some glitter on the nibs, because like I was supposed to do this before the Wink of Stella, but I forgot and my brain was in pain from my headache, so this is just what it is. And the glitter in Wink of Stella isn't thick or chunky like some glitters. It's very, very fine, so I'm not really worried about it on my nibs. I don't think it's going to do any harm. And Copic colors are alcohol markers, and in my Wink of Stella I just have rubbing alcohol to make it last longer, so nothing's going to happen to it. but if you forget the step like me, you do not have to do it. So here is, what is this, Irresistible, it's like almost kind of like glossy accents, except for it has glitter in it, though I don't know if mine has glitter in it because I've never seen glitter in it. I just use it like glossy accents because my glossy accents turned yellow. Okay, I'm enough yabbering. So I put this on the bulbs to give them a glossy look since they're supposed to be light bulbs. I think I fast forwarded this times 3 and it's still taking a while here. I do like this one though better than the glossy accents just because it has that fine tip nozzle, so it's very easy to control. Very, very easy, especially in small areas like this. That the glossy accents has like a bigger nib, and this one I just find I have more control. Of course, if you have a big area to put it in, the glossy accents would probably be better. And here I just show you the shimmery shimmery. And that is it. That is the card for today. So if you liked this video and want to see more videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell and you will be notified every time that I do a video. I always forget to say that in videos and now I'm starting to do it. But yeah, subscribe. And here's a side-by-side picture or view of both of the cards. So I will see you next time, guys. Bye.